Greetings, Kings Nation, Kings family. This is Coach Mel, your athletic director here at V3 Christian Center School. This is the VCCS Athletics Parent Information Session. We're going to be going over a lot of information that you need to know. And please be aware that at the end of this video, you will be given a quiz to test your knowledge on the information that was given. So make sure you're following along. First of all, I would like to congratulate you and your child for making the team. And we expect to have a great season, but I want to go over some information that you need to know. So please make sure that you follow along with me. You have been emailed some forms that you need to complete, and you also have been emailed the athletics handbook that you can follow along with me when I start to go into things in the handbook. So first rule of thumb for my athletes, we have to make sure that all necessary paperwork has been turned in. That's making sure that they have an updated sports physical on file, making sure that the NCISAA participation form has been completed, and also the concussion forms need to be completed. Once you complete those forms, you can forward those forms over to my assistant, Miss Woods. Her email address is vwoods@vccskings.com. So once you get those items signed, you can definitely forward them over to Miss Woods. All right. Next thing is practice and game schedules. So practice and game schedules typically are the same throughout the week. However, sometimes there are changes that need to be made for whatever reason. Please refer to your email, your weekly email. I will send a weekly email on the weekends. Usually you get that on a Saturday or a Sunday that will have the upcoming week in detail. Now, of course, our basketball schedules is uploaded on our website. I sent the schedules out a while ago, but changes are always happening. Like the schedules are always subject to change. So make sure that you refer to that weekly email. It'll give you the updated information. All right. Sometimes information doesn't get changed until last minute. If that's the case, I will send an email, right? We also have another form of communication called the parent alert. Now, the parent alert comes directly to your phone. Now, if there's a situation where a game got canceled the day of, if the game got canceled the day of, typically I will send a parent alert that comes straight to your phone as regard to the email. We understand that everybody don't check their emails every day or every hour on the hour. So if it's some information that I need you to get immediately, I'll send it through the parent alert so it'll come straight to your phone. But please make sure that you're checking your weekly emails. That will keep you updated on what's coming up for that week, practices and games. All right. We also will do a monthly calendar. A monthly calendar will give you a broad scope of the games that's being played, where they're being played, and the practice schedule. For our middle school teams, especially when it comes to like basketball, if there's ever a time where the varsity teams are away and the middle school does not have a game, then they are allowed to practice in the big gym. And so that calendar would kind of specify that. So you can also refer to the calendar for practice and game schedules as well. Now, when I send the weekly emails and it has the game information on it, if we have an away game, I will give the details of what time we're leaving, what time we expect to be back, the address and the location of the game, and I try to give as much information about that venue as I can. Sometimes schools send information as far as like a ticket link for you to purchase tickets online, whether or not they'll have concessions or not, and if there's any special parking directions or things like that. So all that information that you may need to know if you decide to travel to a game will be in that email. Transportation is always provided for our students. So that's the reason why in the email, I'll tell you what time we leave and what time we return. So that way you can coordinate drop off and pick up times. But transportation is always provided. Now, the way we do, since we have two campuses at the high school off of I-85 and then the elementary location on the south side of town. So depending on where the game is, there may not always be a stop at the high school. Okay, so for instance, if we go to Rock Hill, right, if we have a game in Rock Hill, South Carolina, we will not come back to the high school. We will just return to the elementary school. and it'll be the only stop. Now, if we go to like Winston-Salem or Durham and we got to go 85 and we got to come right by the high school, we will stop at the high school first, and then we will also stop at the gym location. The gym location will always be the last stop because that's where our buses park, okay? They park on that side, so that will always be the last location. If for whatever reason that things changes, we would definitely let you know, but that is also in the email. The weekly email will state whether or not we are stopping at both locations or whether we're just stopping at the gym location. So the weekly email is very important. I try to be as accurate as I can with the drop off and pickup time, but of course, you know, some games go long and things happen where that may be affected. If that ever happens and we're like running really behind, I make sure I encourage every student to get on the phone, contact their parents, let them know we're running behind. I also let them get on the phone and notify their parents, hey, we're about 30 minutes away. We're about an hour away, so that you guys can be on time and be ready to pick your child up. All right. Things are always subject to change, so please be flexible. Going into the VCCS athletics handbook, okay? On the second page, you'll see Victory Christian Athletics is committed to developing academics, character, and community while encouraging our students to develop their athletic abilities to their maximum potential, all right? It is the goal of Victory Christian Center Athletics to instill in each player integrity, sportsmanship, responsibility, and a lifelong love of learning, all right? Victory Christian employs several values that are imperative to the development of all of our athletes. Some of those core values that we instill are to represent the Lord Jesus Christ in our character, our performance, and our lifestyle. All right, we want to represent Jesus Christ in everything it is that we do. To maintain and improve a reputation of integrity within the community. All right. I know some schools come and they're like, y'all cheat, man. We don't cheat. Man, we don't need to cheat. And that's not how we do things. That's not the Victory way. You know, we're going to win. We're going to win the right way. Also to instill the value of education, producing a competitive Christian student athlete that's ready for the next level. And also to work with the guidance counselor to get them in a college that is consistent with their academic abilities. All right. Now, as you see on that same page, it shows all of the fall and winter spring sports that we have to offer. You can look through that. If you go with me to page 3 in the athletic handbook, eligibility policy. Of course, the student has to be enrolled in the school, has to be in an enrollment roster. Their date of birth. No player can exceed the age of 19 before August 1st of their senior year to be eligible to play. If you're turned 19 before August 1st of your senior year, then you are ineligible to play. Grade status, you must have and maintain a 2.5 GPA for in your core classes. Now, that does not include art, Bible, and if you have those grades in that class, that is good, but your core classes, you need to have a 2.5. That's your math, your English, your science, your history, and PE and health if you're taking those. Daily school attendance. You must attend school. If a student does not attend school, they cannot play or practice. All right. If you have to be in school at least half of the day in order to play in a game. So if you have a game and you do not show up for school on game day, then you will miss the game. And the same rules apply for practice. So we're encouraging attendance, 100% attendance. Of course, we understand special situations, doctor visits, doctor notes, things like that. Things may happen. So if that does happen, make sure that you provide proper documentation to the coach and to the school so that they can be excused. All right. Up to 3 unexcused tardies to school or class will result in a consequence given by the athletic director. All right. We want to encourage being on time and being present. All right. 3 or more unexcused tardies or absences from school, classes, practices, or games will result in a multi-game suspension or removal from the team. I tell kids all the time, your greatest ability is not your ability to dribble. It's not your ability to shoot. It's not your ability to run. It's not your ability to jump. Your greatest ability is dependability. All right. We need to know that we can depend on you. Coaches provide, come up with a game plan for games and strategies, and it may include your child. And when your child doesn't show up, it just messes up the game plan. And so if a coach can't depend on them, then they might stop putting them in the game plan. So make sure that your child is always available and is always at practice. And even if they're injured and hurt and cannot physically practice, they should still be there to learn what's going on, to be around, to encourage the other guys, because they're part of the team. They committed to the team and we want them around. So we understand sometimes it might not be possible for them to be there. That's fine. But for the most part, we want them to make every effort to attend practices and games. All right, now, when it comes to the academics, if your child falls below a 2.5, right, if they have 2 or more D's or 1 F, it's going to cause them to be on academic probation. All right. When you're on academic probation, you're on a 2-week period where we are actually trying to monitor the class that your child is struggling in. They will sign in every day. When they go to class, they would need to know, hey, did they do their homework? Did they do their class assignment? How well did they do that on their test? When they're in academic probation, they do not have any leeway to miss assignment, fail a test, fail a quiz. During the time that they're in academic probation, they need to be laser focused on their studies, and they need to not miss any assignments, and they need to make sure that they're passing every quiz and test, because that is what's going to improve their grade and get them off of academic probation. All right. F average in any course or 2 Ds in any course during the grading period will result in the action plan. All right. Now, if you have 3 or more Ds, or if you have 2 or more Fs, that makes you academically ineligible. That means you cannot play. It means you'll be prohibited from practicing and playing in games. The reason for that is that student would then need to use their time to not practice, but to get extra work in the classroom, to get extra time to study. So at that point, they won't be able to even come to practice to just watch, because we want them to take that time for studying so that they can get their grades up, so that they then can become eligible when the next report card comes out. All right. So as you see, all that right there is on page 4 in detail. You can kind of read through that and see what the academic requirements are. All right. On the next page, on page 5, you have the academic period, the academic probation periods that we will follow. So you'll see whatever week we line up in. If they fall in academic probation during that week, then you will see the next week where they can be eligible if their grades have improved. All right. All right. Now, page 7. On page 7, when we go down to attendance, we kind of touched on that a little bit, but here it is in detail. The first offense for missing school or practice, of course, unexcused, is a loss of playing time. All right. Now, sometimes this is not a punishment for your child. Sometimes it's rewarding those that did show up, those that haven't missed a day. Sometimes it's not about necessarily punishing your child for not coming. It's more so about, well, you didn't come, but I had these other guys that did come. I need to make sure that I acknowledge the fact that they came. So your first offense may be a loss of playing time. Your second offense may be a 1-game suspension. All right. The third offense can be a parent meeting and a possible removal from the team. Once again, the greatest ability is dependability, and we're just trying to make sure that we're putting in the right work ethic for these kids, whether they play sports in college or whether they play sports professionally. They need to know how to be on time, how to be present, and putting their best foot forward. So that's what we're encouraging, is to make sure that they're being dependable and that the coach can depend on them. All right. Parents are responsible for ensuring timely arrival and pickup of the athlete. So make sure you pick your kids up on time, drop them off on time. Now, I know me, myself, as a coach, I got to work on getting out of practice on time. I'm going to do that. You do your part, I'm going to do my part, and we're going to work well together, okay? But yeah, make sure that you guys are, on time, and setting that example for them as well. You know, it takes a village to raise our kids, and we all need to be on the same page, and we all need to make sure we're striving for excellence, okay? So parents are also responsible for encouraging their child to establish a relationship with their coaches and instruct them to communicate with their coaches effectively and consistently. So if they can't make it a practice for whatever reason, you don't always have to be the person to reach out to the coach. Please encourage your child to, hey, contact your coach. Let them know you can't come to practice today. Let them know you got a doctor's appointment. So now they're starting to build that relationship with the coach, and then the coach can, you know, build a relationship with the kid. And that's what we want. And that's going to help them out better in their sport, and it's going to help them out better overall. All right. There's a no quitting policy, man. Once you're on the team, man, we do not encourage quitting at all. We're going to do everything we can to make sure your child stays on the team. Things may not go the way they want all the time. Once again, these are lessons, valuable life lessons that we're teaching them. It's not always going to be good. You have to get through the bad times. You have to enjoy the good times. But it's not always peaches and cream, right? We all know that. And so we implement a no quitting policy. We don't want kids to get in the habit of quitting. And nowadays, kids are they'll just quit something at the drop of a hat. But we want to build that character, because whatever adversity they're going through, if they stick with it, if they don't quit, if they see it through to the end, it's going to build their character. All right. Playing time. When competing at the junior varsity and varsity level, the minimum per game playing time provisions are enforced. Playing time decisions are left up to the individual coaches as best fit for their team. All right. It is the responsibility of each athlete to earn their playing time, and the opportunities, and take advantage of the opportunities that they're given at practice and at games. A lot of times why my child's not playing? Well, it's up to your child to make sure that he earns the playing time. And what I tell kids all the time is that it's up to you to make me confident to play you. I need to have confidence in playing you. And how do you show confidence? You got to show up every day to practice, and you got to perform in practice. Some kids want me to have the confidence in the game, but you didn't give it to me in practice. So it's like, I'm not going to gamble in the game if you didn't give it to me in practice. So practice is very important. So, and we're not expecting, you know, to be perfect, but we're expecting the effort to be there, 110% effort to be there every single time. There's more information about late season start, tryouts, if injuries happen, and things like that on the rest of page 8. Going to page 9, we have the code of conduct. The following guidelines are to be followed while on campus at Victory Christian Center and while participating in any school-affiliated event without regard of location. So whether we're home or away, if you have on a Victory uniform, if you represent Victory, this is the code of conduct that we expect our students to follow. Students are to interact respectfully with their instructors, with any staff or administrators. That goes with coaches, officials, and other students at all times. Students are to address instructors, staff, and administrators with Mr., Mrs., Miss, Coach, and etc. Students are to follow instructions immediately from all adults in charge. Victory Christian has a zero tolerance policy for bullying and unlawful, inappropriate behavior of any kind or any sexual harassment of any kind. Any use of inappropriate language is prohibited. At no time is it okay to use foul language. Absolutely no weapons of any kind, including guns or knives or BB guns or anything like that are allowed on campus at any time. Absolutely no drugs, no alcohol, no tobacco, no e-cigarettes, no vapes of any kind are allowed on property. Any inappropriate or illegal behavior is grounds for immediate expulsion from the team and also may merit an additional reprimand from the school officials, from Ms. Riley, from the principal, from the head of schools. If you get any that type of trouble, it may have to go to the next level. All right. We pray that that doesn't happen. All right, the next page has some things on there about social networking and media. I'm going to pass through that. All right, so if you look now on page 11, student athlete process for communicating and resolving concerns. All right, now, once again, we are encouraging the student to coach relationship. We are encouraging them to have a relationship with their coach. So if there's ever a discrepancy or something that needs to be discussed, encourage your child to talk with the coach first. Encourage your child to talk with the coach first. And then the next step is, if the student to coach conversation does not bring a resolve to the issue, and then it can be the parent and the coach can communicate. All right. If the parent and the coach can't come to a common ground, then it can go to the administrator. All right, there'll be the parent, the administrator, and the coach if needed. But make sure we go to the proper channels. Sometimes we like to go straight to the head, but like first rule of thumb is okay, he's not playing me. Go ask your coach why you're not playing. Ask your coach what it is you can do to earn more playing time. What is it that you need to do differently, right? Start there first, and then if those things are done and nothing changes, then we can go to the next step, and then the next step after that. All right. But things to be avoided when initiating communication. This is very important. One, avoid having a conversation immediately prior to or right after a game or practice. All right. Coaches are trying to game plan for practice. You might not want to say nothing to them before, after practice, or after games. Never a good time, just depending on how practice went or what may be going on. So we want to make sure that we give our coaches that time to recollect, decompress, and come at you with a clear mind before things get said that shouldn't be said and things like that. So we want to make sure that we're giving people time enough to reflect on what happened and then come at you with a clear head. Another thing to avoid is during an active practice session. Like, you don't want to interrupt practice and just have a meeting, like impromptu meeting. You don't interrupt the practice, come in there, hey coach, I need to talk to you. So let's be respectful of practice and do not interrupt the coaches while they're practicing. Also avoid conversations during a time when other students are present. We don't want to have kids listening and ear hustling your conversation, going back and telling the kid something that they don't have no idea about, and then it gets turned into something else, and now we got a big mess on our hands. So if there's ever a conversation, especially if it's about your child, make sure it's in private and that other students are not around so they don't, start gossiping and things like that. When it is apparent that there is not a sufficient amount of time to allow for a complete discussion, might not be the best time to have that conversation. So you don't want it to be quick. You don't want it to be rushed. So you really wanted to schedule a time. So that's probably the best way to if you need to talk to the coach, is to get on their books and say, hey, what's a good time for us to talk? And let the coach let you know when's a good time, and then make it happen. Now, if there's ever an issue where the coach just never gets back with you and you never schedule a time, then it will probably be time to go to step number 2. All right, we're going down to number 12, to page 12. This is the good stuff right here, people. Parent code of conduct. The parent code of conduct. This is for you. All right. At Victory Christian, it's a family-oriented private Christian school. All right. The administration takes into account the behaviors of all family members. Failure to take this into account at all times may result in the dismissal of your student. As parents, you are a crucial part to your child's education, as well as their athletic participation. We expect all of our parents to conduct themselves according to the following guidelines. Rule number 1, please pray for VCCS daily. Pray for us daily. The school, staff involved, the administrators, people that's making the decisions, please keep us in your prayers, because we need to make sure that we're making the right decisions for your child. Refrain from any negative comments, yelling, or disagreements with the coaches, players, and officials at the game. Parents are to encourage all players, regardless of the ability and performance. Even if we get beat by 50, encourage your child, encourage your other child. If somebody's turning the ball over, they ain't doing, encourage. We want to be positive as much as we can. We don't want to be negative. These kids have enough going on that they don't want to hear the negative, and we don't want to hear it as well. So make sure that we're always being positive. Coaches will address any discrepancy in the calling of a game with the referee. You as a parent do not have to do that. Let me take that responsibility off you. You don't have to argue with the refs. I've never seen a referee change a call, and I've never seen a referee cater to the team that was getting on his case. A lot of times what happens is if we start getting on the referee, they're going to start making calls for the other team. So we want to make sure that we have every advantage that we can have and make sure that we're treating the refs with respect, all right? Let the coaches handle the refs, and we'll do the best we can to make sure that that we're giving our students, that we're giving our players the best shot. We're going to defend our kids at all times, but at the same time, we understand the relationship between coach and referee is very thin ice there, right? I say a little bit, then I back off because they're human and they could take it personal and start making other calls. So we don't want that to happen. Be respectful of staff, administration, coaches, and officials at all times. Be careful not to gossip. I know that might be hard, but be careful not to gossip. Please do not use your student as your only source on the matter, all right? Now, we all know it's 3 sides to every story. So before you jump down the coach's throat or whoever's throat, just make sure that we collect all information that's needed. Make sure we hear from all sides first. Everybody, like I said, everybody has their own side of the story, and sometimes lack of communication is what causes conflict. And so when we can communicate and put everything on the table and with a level head and talk about things, then we may come to a common understanding and say, okay, well, that makes sense, and we can move forward from it. So just don't take your child's word for it. Make sure that we get everybody's side of the story and then go from there, all right? Please bring your concerns and suggestions to the administration and or coach, all right? However, we ask that you do not send anonymous letters or emails, all right? If you have a concern, please let us know. If you have any suggestions, please let us know, but we don't want any anonymous letters or emails, all right? Please do not force your son or daughter to play in any particular sport here at Victory Christian. If they don't want to play, please don't let them play, because it's going to be a problem for the coach, it's going to be a problem for your child, and it's going to be a problem for you if you make them play. You can open up more can of worms than what's needed. So please don't force your child to play. That baby don't want to play, don't let that baby play. Please inform the coach of any physical disability or ailment that may affect the safety of your son or daughter or the safety of others, all right? Certain information we need to know. I know some people don't want preferential treatment for their kid, but at the same time, there's certain information that we need to know so that we can be proactive in certain situations. All right. Please help to teach your son or daughter to play by the rules and to resolve conflicts without resorting to hostility or violence. All right. We always want to learn how to talk things out. We could talk it out. We ain't got to fight it out. Once again, absolutely no drugs, alcohol, tobacco, e-cigarettes, vapes, and all that. None of that stuff are allowed on campus. And then please refrain from coaching your child or other players during the games and practices, unless you are one of the official coaches on the team. Now, that is huge. A lot of times in the games, we're coaching our child and we're thinking that we're helping. And I know you guys are not intentionally going against the coach, but I remember one time specifically where it was Pastor Gould. Matter of fact, I was coaching JV, and it was at the end of the game. We was down by like 1 or 2 possessions, and I was jump trapping, trying to get the steal and get the ball back. And so the person had to lead a man to go jump trap. And Pastor Gould is saying, don't leave your man, don't leave your man. And I turned back, I said, he got to go trap. I told the kid, I said, listen to me. Don't listen to nobody else, listen to me. right? And Pastor was like, Coach, we're not telling him not to listen to you. I'm like, Pastor, I know you're not telling him not to listen to me, but you're telling him to do the exact opposite of what I asked him to do. And so if you're not at practice, if you're not in the huddle, if you're not on the sideline with us, you may not know what the strategy is. And you could be telling your child to do something that's directly against what the coach is asking your child to do. And so you don't want to ever put your child in a position where they have to decide whether they're going to listen to you as the parent or whether they're going to listen to me as the coach. And what happens is that's a hard decision for them to make because they got to ride home with you. They ain't riding home with me. They got to ride home with you. So they might not want to hear it from me in the game, and then they might not want to hear it from you in the car. So we got to be mindful of what we're saying in the games because it could be confusing to your child, and then we could be bumping heads at the same time. So please refrain from coaching your child during the game. Now, if this happens and it starts to be a problem, if any of those things happen, not just the coaching, but any of those things that we just named that we want to refrain from, if any of those things happen, the first offense is your student will be benched or your child will be benched for one game. All right. Second offense, they can be benched for 3 games. And the third offense will be removal from the team. So don't let your actions cause your child to be punished. And that's the last thing we want is for your child to be punished for something that their parent did or wouldn't do, right? So for us to be all on the same page, for us to make sure that our children are getting the best out of this, that they're getting the most out of this, that it's effective, we want to be on the same page and we want to refrain from those behaviors. All right. The next page has things about student team managers. And then on page 14, you will see our conference, teams that are in our conference. And then there's also a list of teams that we may play. A lot of these teams are on our schedule, some of them not, but these are a list of teams that we could possibly play. On that next page, there's a paragraph about sports after high school, and then about the funding, and then we get down to the team commitment form. All right, so page 17, there's a team commitment agreement, and on page 18, there's a parent commitment agreement. The team commitment agreement states the following: I commit to show Christian behavior both on and off the court. I commit to being a leader in academics as well as athletics. I commit to doing the best that I can with my God-given talents. I commit to hard work and to team play. I commit to supporting and encouraging other players both on and off the court. I commit to inform the coach of any absences as soon as I can, and I will not be able to participate on any given day. I will also notify the coach. I commit to be a member of the team and the entire lift of the season. I commit to support the team by having a positive attitude, and as a starter or sub, or even if I don't play, I commit to supporting the team. I commit to demonstrating respect, obedience, self-discipline, and responsibility to my coach, players, officials, parents, fans, and my school. I commit to try to make timely payments of athletic fees and care and return of uniforms in a timely basis to my coach. I commit to abide by Victory Christian's athletic policies and expectations as set forth in the handbook. I commit to participate in any team fundraisers as set forth by the coach and the administration. I commit to volunteering at a minimum 2 home games. Minimum 2 home games. All right. Now for the parent commitment. Now, before I read the parent commitment, this is very important. We are requiring each parent to commit to 2 games, 2 home games to volunteer. We need help, gotta have help, want your help. So please, when you see the schedule, you have the schedule already, there will be a sign-up genius that will be emailed out if it hasn't been already. And we want you to sign up for 2 games that you can volunteer. Now, when you sign up for the games to volunteer, let's say your child plays varsity boys. So then maybe you want to sign up for a varsity girls game to work, or a JV boys game to work, so that you can see your child play. And that way, nobody's missing their child play because they have to volunteer. So you want to volunteer at a game where it's not conflicting with your child's schedule. So, but we definitely need you to volunteer for at least 2 games. 2, all right? Now, the parent commitment agreement. Parents, we need you to commit to the same thing that we told the students. Let's commit to exemplary Christian behavior in the stands. Let's commit to monitoring and encouraging our child's academics as well as their athletics. Commit to encouraging the child to be the best that they can be with their God-given abilities. Commit to challenging your child to exemplify hard work and team play. Commit to supporting and encouraging other players both on and off the court. Commit to inform the coach of any absence as soon as you are aware of the absence. Commit to support of the team for the entire length of the season. All right. That means if we start the season and we start losing, I don't want your support to drop off. Like, I still need your support. All right. Try to support the team by having a positive attitude, whether your child is a sub, a starter, or even if your child don't play at all. All right. I need you to commit to demonstrating respect, obedience, self-discipline, and responsibility to the coach, to the players, to the officials, to other parents, to fans, and to the school. Commit to make a timely payment of athletic fees and care of the jerseys, of the uniforms, and make sure that they are returned in a timely manner. Commit to abide by Victory Christian athletic policies and expectations as set forth in the handbook. Also, last but not least, commit to participate in any team fundraisers as set forth by the coach or the athletic director. All right. So those 2 forms will need to be signed and turned in. The last page of this shows our VCCS directory with the director of athletics, myself, the athletics administrative assistant, Ms. Woods and Ms. McClady, and then the principal. So you have those information, those emails there. If you ever need to contact any of us, that information is right there. Thank you all for your time. I believe I covered everything. If there's anything that you did not get or that you do not understand, please email me directly. If there's any question that you need to ask and I can answer, please feel free to reach out to me. We are excited about what God is doing here at VCCS, and we are excited about what he's doing in your child, and we expect them to be the best that they can be, and we are excited about seeing their growth and their maturity in their respective sports. Thank you. God bless.